Hiya, welcome to the beautiful north of Sweden. I have a wonderful midnight sun behind me. I know that probably isn't great for lighting, but I also thought that the view behind me is just so wonderful. I'm hoping that you can forgive me a little bit of shade on my front and a little bit of poor lighting, but hopefully the video will go well. So in this video, I want to talk to you about spiraling in silk reeling. It's a topic that has gained more popularity over the last few years, and it is something that is really particular to Chen-style Tai Chi. So Chen-style Tai Chi is, so in Chen-style Tai Chi, spiraling and coiling is essential. It is an integral component of the movement that we learn to do. So it's whole body movement which spirals and coils throughout the whole body. And silk reeling is obviously one of those exercises that is used to develop and enhance and create that natural coiling motion. And it's a wonderful motion. Not only does the body love it, but the mind loves it too. There's just some way, in my experience, it just stimulates the body and mind in a very, very particular way, which is just divine. And it's one of the reasons why I'm so attracted to Chen-style Tai Chi as a style. Now, in the text, the old texts, they talk about spiraling of the arms and spiraling of the legs. And all of that spiraling is coordinated essentially through the Dantian. So your movement is created in the Dantian and the rest of the body follows. It takes a long time to construct the Dantian and construct the feeling in the Dantian that then enables that whole body spiraling movement. So what we tend to do is we focused first and foremost primarily on the spiraling of the hands and the arms into and out of the Dantian. Okay, so what we end up with is we have one spiraling which is towards the center of the body like so, and we have another spiraling motion which is away from the center of the body like so. Okay, and when we do the four corners of silk reeling, like in the previous video where I talked about the basics of silk reeling, we have those four corners, and those are the four positions that you really want to move through within silk reeling. But once the fluidity and the spiraling is added, then it becomes one whole circular motion, and it becomes smooth and continuous. But with the spiraling, what we can do is, let's say we're starting here from position number 1. I find it really useful to train the spiraling by focusing on our thumb and little finger. So through half of the cycle, the thumb rotates in towards the palm, and for the other half of the circle, it's the little finger that rotates into the palm. So as we move here from position number 1, it's the thumb that rotates towards the palm to position number 2, and then continues to rotate to its maximum rotation, natural rotation here in position 3. And then to go to 4, it's the little finger that then rotates, and to 4, and then carries on rotating to number 1 again. And this is the end of the natural rotation of the little finger. So it goes back towards the palm with the thumb, and the thumb continues to rotate to number 3, little finger down to number 4, and then to number 1. So palm to number 2, thumb to palm to number 3, and then we have little finger to palm to number 4, and back again to number 1. From the other hand, starting in position number 1, thumb to palm, number 3, thumb to palm, number 4, finger to palm, number 1, finger to palm. Thumb to palm, thumb to palm, little finger to palm, and back to 1, little finger to palm. So thumb to palm for number 2, thumb to palm for number 3, finger to palm for number 4, and then finger to palm back to number 1 again. Thumb to palm 2, thumb to palm 3, little finger to palm 4, little finger to palm back to number 1. Okay, so that's the upper body spiraling. That's something that you can practice on your own. I recommend it, do it very regularly. Now the other side to it is the spiraling of the legs. Now that does exist, and there are different approaches to how to develop this, okay? And if you were to ask somebody like Chen-style Wang, after you've been doing Tai Chi for a number of years, his suggestion would be that you just concentrate on this flow of Dantian and the hand spiraling, and just spend a long time practicing that and focusing your efforts on that. And then what will happen is that the spiraling of legs will just happen in and of itself. Now, I'm a Westerner, so that means that I'm a lot less patient. And so what I have done myself is, after reading some of the stuff like from Chen, I have really begun to focus on the spiraling of legs as an individual exercise, which I have then integrated into my form and into the silk reeling practice. So what I do with myself and with my students and even beginners is I get them to focus on this element of spiraling. Now this is a very challenging process, okay? So it takes time to learn. But I think it's a wonderful thing for the legs, for the glutes, for all of those sorts of things, because it actually really helps the body to wake all the musculature up and also to relax a lot. So I tend to focus here then on the legs. So hands go onto the hips. And then what we do is we focus on a rotation of the feet. So if we take the hand going in towards the body and away from the body in terms of its spiraling, that's exactly what happens again with the feet. So the feet spiral like this. So if I'm moving, so I'm rotating towards my left, the right hand leg and the right hand foot spirals outwards, and that creates that rotation, and also it creates a force coming up from the ground that pushes my leg and my weight into my left. And the left foot is rotating in towards the center of the body at the same time, okay? And this is why it's so difficult, is you've got 2 directions of rotation happening at the same time. Now as a beginner, it might be easier to just focus on the rotation of the back foot, so that when you move like me, if I'm moving towards my right, the rotation of my left foot rotates out, and then back again, right foot rotates out. And then you can see that the weight shift is starting to happen, but also we're starting to see a rotation in the hips there as well. So this is something I recommend you just practice in isolation if you want to. You know, otherwise you can still do the upper body stuff and allow the legs to rotate and start to spiral in and of themselves in their own kind of way. Okay, so for now, think of the spiraling of the legs, and that the spiraling of the legs moves and rotates the hips, okay, back and forth. And it's really helpful to spend a good 5, maybe 10 minutes doing this on a very regular basis. Making sure that you've sunk your weight, your knees are nicely bent, your posture's correct so that your hips have gone down and slightly backwards, and that you've also relaxed the pelvis. Head floating up, clear chest, so that you are in that correct posture in order to do this. So that enables the legs to be able to rotate correctly, okay? Because the knees will remain where they're supposed to be. So when we're doing this rotation, you need to make sure that your knees are nicely relaxed and that you're not over rotating either the hips or the legs. So we're only talking a few degrees. You know, you're not trying to do 45 degrees or anything. It needs to be natural, small, and relaxed, just so that you can begin to get a sense of that rotational movement. And so what you can do is, when you're beginning to get a sense of that rotational movement, you can develop the coordination between the spiraling and through all four corners. Like I said, it takes a very long time to develop this kind of smooth, fluid and rotational movement, and to integrate it with the spiraling in a whole body way. But it's worth it. Stick at it. Take its time. Yeah, let the whole process take the time that it needs to take, and you will find that it pays every dividend that you might expect it to. The body will love it, and your mind will love it. There you go. Thank you very much.